Hey there, I'm Daniel. I'm the founder of Tiny Rig, and today we're going to walk you guys through this Jeep Gladiator we just wrapped up. All right guys, so we do a lot of Gladiators. Most of the videos we're doing for you guys, you're probably seeing the campers, but we're going to highlight today, I don't want to say a well optioned out canopy, but a canopy that has my favorite Alu-Cab accessory for the canopies that unfortunately we don't sell enough of them, as functional as they are, and then some other stuff that we did to it. So let's talk canopy to start. So extremely lightweight. This is the Alu-Cab Contour Canopy. This design replaced the Alu-Cab Explorer Canopy. So if you're familiar with the Explorer Canopy, typically it had either completely smooth sides or tread plate. In this case, Contour brings in these pressed contours, hence the name. It's added some rigidity to the doors without having to keep that tread plate or diamond plate. And essentially what it's done is it's allowed them to keep the weight extremely light, but also make it really, really strong. So this weighs about 125 pounds. The remarkable thing about it with an all aluminum construction is that you can actually put a lot of weight up top. So I believe numbers wise, Alu-Cab has stated about 800 pounds up there. So one of the things that, when I first put a canopy or a truck camper on my truck, I did some research and I said, okay, I need to get a reinforced roof to be able to put a rooftop tent and sleep up top. Once you do that, you end up making the traditional fiberglass camper shells pretty heavy. So mine weighed 310 pounds. I had the solid wind doors that you pop up. They had sliding glass back door, glass front door that folded down. It was very well optioned out. It was about $3,400 installed, and that was about 7 years ago. These add a tremendous amount of value. You get to keep the weight down. That canopy is, weighs a lot. Basically 310 for the canopy, add some load bars, let's call that 340. And then at a rooftop tent, which, best case scenario, you're at 110 pounds or so, 100 pounds. You end up with camper weight already with just a camper shell and a traditional rooftop tent. So what Alu-Cab has done, they've been making these for 20 years. This is the core product that Alu-Cab started with, and they've refined it a lot over the years. It's an incredibly well-built, well-thought-out product. We'll start just, again, latches. So they do make latch covers for it. You're gonna get 2 latches on each door. You're gonna get keys for each lock. So basically you're gonna get 6 set of keys if you purchase a canopy. There also is options for windows. We'll put that up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see what that looks like. If you're gonna be using it to just store stuff inside and you want that privacy, the solid wind doors make a lot of sense. If you're gonna be sleeping inside of it, let's say you've got a 5.5 foot bed or a 6 foot bed or 6.5 foot bed, then having the sliding glass is really nice because you can ventilate and get some of that condensation out when you sleep inside. We'll also touch on load bars. So from the factory, you're gonna have this load bar track up here. Alu-Cab has 3 options for load bar feet. You have low profile, which is on here. That's gonna sit things directly on that rail. You have a 40 millimeter foot, which is considered their standard load bar foot. That's a good option if you need to be able to get access underneath something like a rooftop tent. The low pro, we actually can run a ratchet strap underneath. There's enough clearance between the bottom of the load bar and the recessed surface of the roof up there, excuse me. And then there's also a higher profile 60 millimeter foot. That 60 millimeter foot is traditionally not recommended to run a rooftop tent because of the leverage it puts on it by having that extra height. So if you're thinking of mounting a rooftop tent, if you can go low pro, do it. It's awesome. It sits incredibly low. Otherwise, look at the 40 millimeter option. Alu-Cab load bars, incredibly, incredibly strong. I was just talking to a customer about it. Sometimes we'll show customers like versus a front runner or a lot of the 80/20 racks, the internal structure of that Alu-Cab load bar. It has a lot less deflection. The design of it is really cool. It's gonna be an M8 track, so you can go get any M8 piece of hardware from the hardware store and be able to add anything to it. If you wanna strap stuff down, stainless hardware, stainless eyelet, you guys can buy that stuff on Amazon and put it up there and be able to run straps or mount a lot of different stuff. In back here, you guys can see we've got Deck's new V2 drawer system. So I'm pretty excited about this. I used to have the original Deck system in my Tacoma. It was 2 drawers. And I didn't have, I had it when I had the snug top on my truck and it was really heavy. So that original one, they designed to be able to hold 2,000 pounds, which is far what the payload of the Tacoma can actually handle, as well as the Gladiator. So it didn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion, for them to design something that held so much weight for a mid-sized truck. What they've done is they've lowered the capacity down to 1,000 pounds now. The drawer can hold 400, but they got the weight down pretty substantially in this one. I think they dropped it by about 50 pounds. This, I want to say weighs, was it 170, Noah? Cool. So 177 pounds. So they shaved off about 40 pounds. Nice thing about the deck system is that all of this ends up being weather tight. And so while Alu-Cab does a good job of doing some sealing of the tailgate and whatnot, being able to have all your stuff in there all the time, dry, dust free, is really nice. So I think the package of way we've set this up is it's extremely functional. So Alu-Cab Tilting Fridge Slide. This is made in 4 different sizes. Depending on the fridge that you have, we would spec it accordingly. The cool thing about this is obviously now we're working off of a truck bed platform that's elevated. And so being able to see inside the fridge, which I apologize, I don't have a fridge to show you guys what this looks like, but traditional fridge slide would come out like that, right? And now you're kind of looking, and this Jeep is completely stock, no lift. If you got a Jeep that you're putting on like 37s, which most people are at this point, and you're doing like a 2-inch lift, your fridge is, basically right here at the top of it. And again, I'm about 6 feet tall, so I think this is extremely functional, really, really cool. First time I ever saw that, I was really excited about it. But the function and the use of this and how easy it is to operate and how solid it is really impressive. So you can put a heavy fridge in there, completely loaded up, and the way that we've mounted it through the deck system, it's strong enough to support it. It's strong enough for all that leverage to be on there. And then this actually is resting on the tailgate as well. So it's not necessary for it to do that, but that's a really nice thing. It's just built that much stronger, and kind of the way the install was done makes it that much better. So something to touch on with that, you guys can see kind of spacing that we've done here. So you do run into some potential challenges when you mount a fridge on top of a drawer system inside of a canopy, right? You've got some width restrictions, you've got some height restrictions. Height was the biggest concern on this one, height of the fridge. But also the customer thinks that they're eventually going to add some of the side cubbies that Alu-Cab makes. We'll put those up on the screen for you guys so you can see what those look like. Alu-Cab offers full length ones, and they also offer, we'll call it half length ones. When we put that cubby in, it's going to come inside a little bit. And so what we wanted to do was make enough room so that that cubby can be installed without hitting the fridge. And so we've done that, and now you can slide stuff in. Now, stepping back into it, you guys can see that we've got this little, we'll call it track system here. So this is Alu-Cab's Ammo Box Slide. And what this allows you to do is mount 4 Alu boxes. Is it 4 or 6? It's been a minute. Forgive me, guys. I think it's 4. But you can mount them in here, and they're recessed and they sit on this track. And so you actually have the ability to strap them down too. So you now have an area of your bed that is typically harder to access, and it's now at window height, and you can actually like slide them back and forth from one side to the other. It's really, really cool. Those ammo boxes stack nicely. Alu-Box makes ammo boxes. Alu-Cab makes Alu boxes. Wow, I'm gonna say this again. Alu-Cab makes ammo boxes, and then you can also get those from Front Runner as well. All the standard ammo boxes mount and work in here very, very well. In order to get this to kind of line up the way that we did, there was a little bit of MacGyvery. So we mounted it a little bit unorthodox outside of the instructions, but we're pretty happy with how it came out. So you have a bracket that sits in the Alu-Cab extrusion over here. We've gone ahead and flipped that. And then we added an aluminum shim to lift it and clear the brackets over here and be able to basically push it as far forward in the bed as we can so that we have the clearance to mount the fridge. And you can see there's probably about a 4-inch gap here. So it is really tight, and this is a larger fridge slide, but it worked out really well. So very happy with how that turned out. And again, like this item, if you think about it, you're adding a lot of function in the typical place of a truck bed that's not super accessible. So this is a pretty typical setup, I would say, of kind of what they show in Alu-Cab's videos in South Africa. Alu-Cab actually makes their own drawer systems over there. And we're subbing that for the deck system. But when they build out these canopies, they're building it out with this. There's also the table slide that goes up top. You have LED lights you're gonna get on each of the doors. If you come to Tiny Rig, that's an option for us to wire it for you. You're also able to do that at home. You get the third brake light on the back of the canopy. So again, what I wanna highlight is just the amount of function that you're getting from this particular setup, right? Challenges that you face with adding a drawer system, removing height from your bed. We've fixed that by doing the fridge slide with a tilt on it, accessing things in the back of your bed, a little harder to reach across and whatnot. You're gonna be able to stack boxes, basically up to this height and it's really nice. So wrapping up canopy. So we've got an anti-condensation pressure vent mounted up top above that window. You've got the Alu-Cab extrusion running all through this so that you can slide hardware everywhere. You get those 3 lights, the solid doors or windows, easy option to mount load bars. To those load bars, there's a lot of accessories that you can add. You can mount an Alu-Cab awning, you can mount a shower cube, you can run 2 load bars, 3 load bars, 4 load bars, depending on kind of what you want to mount and put up there. So again, if you're trying to go for more of that minimalist build, you can definitely accomplish that. A lot of weight savings with an Alu-Cab canopy. And then the other thing I want to point out is if you're looking at truck camper shells, the way that the canopy sits on your truck is important as far as longevity goes. So with that fiberglass camper shell I had, it is really nice to have paint matched camper shells sometimes, like it's a good look. But with that, and when they do the fiberglass, typically you see that the paint match actually isn't perfect. If you're someone who's obsessed with details, you'll notice a lot of times that there is just a variation between what your vehicle is. That's why there's paint numbers and whatnot. But you know, sometimes you get a good match, sometimes you don't. But also, it has that flange that sits over the bed caps. And what happens if you're actually off-roading is you end up having those little micro vibrations. And over time, you start wearing through the paint on your bedside. And we see it really common when customers have had fiberglass camper shells and they're upgrading to this or canopy camper or mod cap. And so this, because it sits on that bed rail, it's not going to do that. That's a big deal. You know, you spend a lot of money on a vehicle, and even though we're off-roading and we're abusing it with pinstripes and whatnot, having your paint damaged because of the design of something, it's just a bummer. So hopefully you guys found this to be helpful. If you guys have any more questions on Alu-Cabs, canopies, accessories, mod caps, if you need any electrical work, take a look at our other videos. We're known for a very, very high attention to detail. We take a lot of pride in what we do. And again, we are going to help you functionally build a 4x4 vehicle to get you out to camp comfortably and add a lot of convenience for you. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.